As promised, here's my review of Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat. Welcome back to another episode of Overlooked and Underrated. Yes, I know I have not been very active on this specific segment. And if you wonder what I do on this segment, I talk about movies that I consider overlooked or underrated. Makes sense. And when I think of movies that are like criminally underrated, the first film that pops up in my head is Trick or Treat. Now, Trick or Treat was written and directed by Michael Dougherty, who also happens to be the co-author of X2 X-Men United. The film stars Dylan Baker, Brian Cox, Anna Paquin, and Sam Todd. Trick or Treat is a horror anthology film that actually tells 4 stories that are not necessarily in the chronologically right order, but however are all connected to one little trick-or-treater only known as Sam. The first story deals with Dylan Baker's character, who plays a school principal who also happens to be a psycho killer. And his story pretty much explores how he goes about his day after having murdered someone. The second story focuses on a group of trick-or-treaters, and especially a young girl named Rhonda, who's persuaded by a group of sort of bullying kids to pay respect to the dead victims of the Halloween school bus massacre. However, that little trip turns out to be very scary and possibly violent. Story number 3 deals with a group of girls who all get ready to celebrate their Halloween by getting a lot of dates, getting drunk, and getting laid. Anna Paquin's character, however, is still a virgin, which is why this night she has decided she's gonna do something about it. She will have her cherry popped. And the fourth and final story deals with Brian Cox's character, who is sort of a Scrooge. He's a recluse, he's weird, he hates Halloween, and then he gets a little visit by what seems to be the ghost of Halloween. And like I said, all these stories are connected to one little trick-or-treater, only known as Sam. Funny enough, they never call him Sam throughout the entire film, but Michael Dougherty told us that guy is called Sam. Now, right from the get-go, I can tell you that Trick or Treat is a fantastic movie, especially for the holiday season. I can watch this movie every day and be pumped for Halloween. It could be the warmest day of summer. If I watch this film, I want to celebrate Halloween. And why is that? Because this movie is the epitome, it's the embodiment of everything Halloween. Michael Dougherty is Halloween obsessed, and it totally shows in this film. The props, the scenery, the way he makes use of colors. Seriously, every scene has like something orange about it. You see leaves on the ground. And he perfectly recreated the suburban home of America where Halloween is a huge thing. You see Halloween parades, you see costume shops. But also thematically, it fits perfectly because you have a Halloween party with some horny girls in slutty costumes. You have some trick-or-treating children. You have this old guy who does not give a fuck about Halloween. So all age groups are sort of represented. But you also have this weird psycho killer and what seems to be a vampire. So this film combines monster movie elements with classical creepshow elements. Mixes in a little humor because the dialogue is really well written, and once you get to the big 2 twists, this movie has actually 2 big twists that caught me off guard. You're like, oh my god, this is genius. And once you rewatch the film, you're like, oh my god, the dialogue actually hinted on what's to come, and it's awesome. This movie is even better the second time. The narrative of this movie is also amazing. It is so great because you're sucked into every single one of these stories, but once you realize that they're all like connected through either the Sam character or tiny connections, you look at the bigger picture and you're like, oh, awesome. And like Pulp Fiction, you're able to puzzle it together once you're just like, okay, then first this happened, then that, then this happened, and oh, that's awesome. It's funny enough how I actually stumbled upon this film. It was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago even. And I went to this amazing Halloween party. I came back and I was hammered. I was trashed. Role model. So I got back home and I just turned on the TV and all of a sudden I saw Trick or Treat. I think they were still in the middle of like the first story and I was like, oh, this is good. This is like some solid writing. The dialogue was so amazing that even me in that condition was like, oh, that's so cool, that's intriguing, that's brilliant writing. But I actually turned off the TV because I was like, no, I'm not gonna watch this movie because it's like halfway in. So I Googled it, I went on eBay, I got myself the Blu-ray, and ever since I saw this movie from start to finish, I've been in love with it. Virtually everything about this movie works. The acting is really solid. Yes, some of the kid actors aren't that great, but they don't suck. But Dylan Baker, holy shit, that guy stands out. I only ever knew him as Dr. Connors from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, and he wasn't really a big part of it. He was just like an extra. In this movie, he shows his talent, and that guy has great comedic timing while also playing a convincing psycho. Anna Paquin is as awesome as usual. Brian Cox is so great in this movie as this old Scrooge-like recluse. And funny enough, they actually made him look like Wes Craven with a long nose and long hair. And one of the kids that plays Rhonda, I liked her in the film. It has become a tradition for me to watch this movie with some friends before I go to a Halloween party. And I'm always looking forward to it. The narrative is great, the characters are interesting, the dialogue is amazing and funny. The cinematography is flawless, seriously. The way they build in flashbacks, perfect. The soundtrack is awesome. By the way, the best use of Marilyn Manson's Sweet Dreams ever. I'm not going to spoil the scene because it is actually my favorite scene of the entire movie. And we have a new iconic character for Halloween with this little Sam guy. Seriously, he is my new favorite icon of Halloween. Everything about this movie works. Everything about this movie succeeded in what it set out to do. And that is being a new horror movie that is also a love letter to Halloween. And that also is, above all else, fun. It's not a scary film. I'm not scared by this. And I believe hardly anyone will be scared of this movie. However, this movie is entertaining as hell and a great film for the holiday season. In my opinion, the best movie for the holiday season. Trick or Treat definitely gets the gold medal. So that was my review of Trick or Treat. Also be sure to check out Sebastian Vendel Martinez's review of his favorite Halloween movie, which happens to be John Carpenter's The Thing, on his Sci-Fi-Night channel. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. I had a blast doing that. It was really fun to do the top 5 list. It was really fun to talk about my all-time favorite Halloween film. And as always, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then just subscribe. Happy Halloween!